Hey, today I want to talk about Team Fortress 2 and its interesting ports on other platforms or operating systems. There isn't too much to say about a majority of them. There's only stark differences in between most of the ports, but there are a few that have, well, very interesting tales to tell, and no one really knows about it. So I'm going to break those down and just kind of enlighten everyone watching this and let them know, hey, this version of TF2 had this. Before I do start though, I'm going to make it extremely clear I will only be covering the official ports. There is only one unofficial port that I will be covering because it is genuinely impressive, but the rest are all official ports. I do not count modded versions of the game being streamed to your fucking Nintendo DS as a quote port of TF2. But anyway, with that said, let's get into it. The Steam version of Team Fortress 2, the one literally everybody is familiar with, the most up-to-date version, and honestly, a masterclass in how the blueprint for making video games should be. There isn't too much to say about this, it's very surface level. You all know what TF2 is, I know what TF2 is, we play it, it's a peak gaming experience. Now the Linux port. The Linux port had native support for quite some time. Sadly, it's no longer officially supported due to the 64-bit update. Hey, quick editor's note here. What I just said was actually false. You can still play the Linux version of TF2 just fine. Just disregard that. But it did have some degree of content added to the game post-launch. It ran on the Ubuntu OS, and if you played this version of TF2, you would receive the Tux cosmetic in-game, which is just a cute little Linux penguin that kind of sits on your character. It's really niche. Honestly, there isn't too much else to say about the Linux version, and much like the Mac OS version that I will get into very shortly, it ironically, both of these versions had more content than the console versions. The Mac port, or OS X port, whatever you want to call it. It was pretty much identical to the Linux version of the game. The only stark difference is the fact that you got a different in-game item for playing this, which were the Apple earbuds, which is, it's kind of sick. I like these little things they do as rewards for players playing on, I guess, quote, inferior hardware or just harder to work with hardware. Much like the Linux port, it allowed people from a wider audience to experience TF2, and I can appreciate Valve's attempts to broaden their audience of the game. I'm also unsure if Linux or Mac players could play together, or Steam and Linux or Mac OS could play together and vice versa. I'm not entirely sure if that quote cross-play compatibility was a thing. I don't believe it was, but correct me in the comments if that was the case. Alright, now the PS3 port of TF2.
PS triple.
This was relatively untouched upon release, so it's its little own time capsule. Well, was its own little time capsule until it unfortunately servers were shut down in 2023. So it had a very long-standing lifespan despite it literally receiving no patches. And there are a few key differences with this. So functionally, it is the same as the Xbox port, but it wasn't made by Valve. It was ported by EA because Gaben kind of had a thing against PS3s and going, yeah, fuck PlayStation and fuck their hardware. It's fucking retarded, which was it was kind of funny. But yeah, EA managed to get this port pretty well done. Yeah, the only flex, ironically, that this port has is the fact that EA went out of their way to swap the textures for Blue Scout's pants. That's right. The fix that never came to any other version of the game. It came to PC over a decade later and was reverted shortly later because of how many cosmetics actually conflicted with this change. But on the PS3, it doesn't matter. You don't have cosmetics. So EA fixed that tiny little texture issue, and they were the only ones that did it with TF2's initial release, which is really strange, but oh well, that's Valve for you. The Xbox 360 port of Team Fortress 2. Now, this port of Team Fortress 2 is surface level, identical to the PS3 version, but it is missing the Blue Scout pants fix. However, there are key differences to the PS3 version. One, when you dig a little bit deeper, the servers are actually live still. You can still play Team Fortress 2 on the Xbox 360 online and with the very small player base, but you can still play it. And yeah, it's a really charming time capsule because it is, well, yeah, relatively untouched. All of the OG buggy glitches of 2 Forward and all the launch maps of TF2 are still present, and a lot of those bugs are with Engineer's Teleporter being accessible outside the map, which is really interesting. Another key difference is the whole modding / hacking side of the community. If you guys were around during the golden era of gaming, you would remember modders or hackers, whatever you called them back in the day, running around on Black Ops 2 or Halo Reach, and they were mostly harmless. Usually they were just adding in assets from those games onto different maps and creating little death run-ish game modes within the game, or just making everyone have super sprint or god mode. Really fun stuff that obviously confused a lot of the audience because, well, modding stuff into a game, or, you know, hacking or whatever you want to call it, was pretty hard to do back then, especially on that hardware. But this also meant it was possible in Team Fortress 2. And it happened. And Team Fortress 2's history of modding is pretty interesting on the Xbox. It's very similar to how they would do it back in the day with Black Ops 2 and Halo Reach. You know, they spawned in parts of other maps on top of already existing maps in live matches, which would confuse the shit out of players, but it would still make it fun. They also had things where, I'm not too sure if it was client side or server side, I'm pretty sure it was server side, where they were able to change the textures on models and just kind of make it really wacky and goofy. Ironically, some of the modders managed to mod in Engineer's hat on both teams being Mario or Luigi, which is an actual cosmetic we have on the Steam version now. So, you know, these guys on the Xbox were way ahead of their time. And yeah, to kind of get an idea of how kind of wacky this is, I'll just play a quick snippet of the clip I'm showing on screen without me talking, and you guys can kind of just soak in how bizarre it is. TF2M, also known as Team Fortress 2 Mobile, or known as Team Fortress 2 Mobile Rewritten. Yeah, it's got a bit of an odd history and quite a small fan base, but it's kind of well known, but not really. I don't see too much talk about it. Like, yeah, it's documented online pretty well by the official team behind it, but no one's really playing it. But I digress. It is quite an impressive port of Team Fortress 2. And ironically has way more content than the console ports. Content that the console ports would actually dream of having. So how can you access it? Unfortunately, it's only accessible via the Play Store on Android devices, I believe. Yeah, Apple, you suck. But its history is interesting. It originally released in 2023 under the name of TF2 Mobile, but was removed shortly after, tweaked, and then re-released this year, 2025, under the name of TF2 Mobile Rewritten. Obviously, this is quite an amazing piece of work if you look into it. It has fucking CP Orange, it has its own community servers, it's got the rocket jumper. I don't believe it has all of the classes playable, but it has like 2/3 of them, which is still impressive in itself. So, you know, if you look at it outside of the lens of, oh, it's a port of TF2, and you just focus on it being as a mobile game, it's an impressive mobile game regardless. It also has single player bot matches you can play with, which is offline play, and of course, as I mentioned, the online play. It has text chat as well, and even the voice commands seen on the PC version. It doesn't have all the voice commands, but it has quite a few. So it's pretty interesting to see this on a fucking handheld device, let alone an Android device. Oh, and they also have sprays, which is kind of cool. Alright, and that's it for today's video. Kind of not too in-depth about it. I wanted to go just below the surface of what was known on most TF2 ports and just kind of be like, hey, here's what it was, here's what you got for playing it or didn't get, here were the differences, blah blah. I felt like I didn't need to drag on too much about it. I just wanted to kind of get straight to the point, not keep you guys here for too long. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I would appreciate if there was engagement, such as comments, likes, subscribing. It really helps me try to grow my channel. I am still trying consistently to upload Team Fortress 2 videos. I'm really enjoying it. And with that said, I'll see you guys next time.